Hi there, I'm Pat Stetzer, and welcome to the CMSportsNet Wrap-Up Show Year in Review. CMSportsNet covered Carroll County high school sports in the fall, winter, and spring seasons. We chronicled some of the county's top athletes and teams throughout the year, from football and girls soccer in the fall, to boys and girls basketball and wrestling in the winter, and boys and girls lacrosse in the spring. We gave you everything from athletes of the week, to plays of the month, to games of the year. We chose the top athletes from each of our focus sports and talked to some of the best high school coaches in the county. We also had college sports covered with men's soccer and men's lacrosse action and highlights from Carroll Community College. You'll hear from two athletic directors, Randy Pence from Century High School and Bill Kelvey from the Carroll Lynx. And we'll recognize one athlete as our CMSportsNet Athlete of the Year. So let's get on with the show. Welcome back to CMSportsNet. Century High School sports teams collected 11 county championships during the 2021-22 school year. 3 in the fall, 2 in the winter, and 6 in the spring. Century's boys soccer team played in the state tournament last fall, and the volleyball team made it all the way to the state finals. The Knights also won a state championship when the girls lacrosse team went 19-0 to claim the Class 2A crown in May. Success has been a constant within Century's athletic program since its inception in 2001. And the man who oversaw it for the last 16 years is athletic director Randy Pence. Randy retired at the end of the school year after more than 3 decades as an educator, and he's here today to talk about this past year and how Century's program has become one of the top programs in the state. Thanks for joining us today, Randy.
Thank you, Pat.
Another successful year for Century all around in high school sports. What was it like watching the Knights from your vantage point on the sideline this year?
Well, thank you, Pat. Number one, it was a very successful year. We had a lot of exciting times, a lot of fun and this and that. But as we moved forward through the year, I mean, COVID was still around and we're still fighting that. And there are a lot of things that had to be put into place to succeed that and to move forward. You know, we went from not playing at all to practice pods to playing with no spectators and finally playing and everything like that. So looking at the small goals and then the large goals, the team, it was extremely exciting. It was so much fun. The times were fun. It was good. It was great to see the spectators and the parents back involved and watching the success, of course, of the athletes on the field.
The spring was quite the season at Century and with championships from athletes and teams alike. Can you describe those final few weeks as AD as you're watching your teams do so well? As the Knights were winning all those games?
Yeah. Just, our spring seasons have been very successful. They really have been very successful over the last number of years, that's for sure. And watching the turnaround and just seeing how well the kids participated in the different teams. And it was exciting going out. And again, looking forward to, hopefully getting that last state championship and everything, which our girls lacrosse team came through for me to finish it up on a high note.
Absolutely. You started as Century's AD in 06, and I think if my math's right, 26 of the 30 state titles that Century has been won in that span. How have you seen the program grow in the 16 years that you've been there?
Well, of course. I mean, in any program, it's building a solid all-around program, building a positive culture. That's where it all begins, where it starts with the kids, with the parents, with the communities, the values, the beliefs, and we term it at Century the Century way and developing those values and working through. I mean, this year was really big in character development and working through that, and that's very important. I can't leave out the coaches, of course.
Sure.
And the continuity of returning coaches is having the coaches coming back year after year after year is a big success. And when they do leave, it's usually a JV coach or an assistant coach that moves up to the varsity level, which their traditions, what they've done hasn't changed. And that's the big part about it. And I think that's what contributes, along with the community and the parents and what they feed into, the willingness to do what's necessary for the kids to improve, for the teams to improve. It's exciting.
Being able to watch your kids play varsity sports, obviously, at Century must have been high on your list of memories and highlights. Anything else stand out during your tenure as AD that just maybe gets close to the top of that list?
well, of course, that is absolutely the neatest thing in the world, to watch my kids grow in the program. As you know, both Rose and I were very athletic-minded and involved in sports and activities, and we were just so lucky that both Ryan and Caitlin wanted to do that as well. I mean, that was absolutely outstanding, and we have to commend, and I'm so proud of them and how they forged their way forward in what they did and respected our positions as staff members at the school, as administrators at the school.
Right.
And they made a name for themselves through their hard work and their efforts. And you refer to accomplishments and things that happened throughout the school and what's the program and everything like that. And if a memorable moment that I can remember, if something like that, if you want me to share that, I have to go back to year one.
Okay.
Year one, state championship. Rose Pence won with the girls lacrosse program. It was her third, but it was at my first at Century High School with her, and that was exciting. And it was a family moment at that point in time. I mean, she was the coach, administrator. Ryan was a senior that year. Caitlin was part of that lacrosse program as a freshman that year, and it was exciting. It was fun. Yeah.
Good memories for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Well, Randy, thanks very much. Congrats on a successful career, and best wishes on a healthy retirement.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it.
Problem.
Thank you.
We come back, we'll take one final look at the 2021 fall season as CMSportsNet covered it. And later, we'll unveil our choice for Athlete of the Year. But first, take a look at our Fall Athlete of the Week selections and a glance at the teams which won fall county titles.
What does it take to cover local high school sports? It takes staff and volunteers, equipment, training, and community support from people like you. You can help by making a donation to the Community Media Center today. Your gift is an investment in our community, our schools, and most of all, our student athletes. We want to expand our coverage to include both boys and girls sports, but we can't do it without your help. So please, make your donation today and help us bring high school sports to every screen in Carroll County.
Now it's time to recap the 2021 Carroll County football season, one that was dominated by South Carroll. 4 teams posted winning records last fall, with the Cavaliers winning their first Carroll County Athletic League title since 2015. South Carroll was joined by Westminster, Manchester Valley, and Francis Scott Key. All 4 teams won at least one postseason game, with Westminster making it to the Class 3A state semifinals and the Cavaliers playing in the 2A 1A state championship game. SC junior A.G. Rodriguez led Carroll County in rushing yards, touchdowns, and total points. And senior quarterback Ryan Bernard earned CMSportsNet Offensive Player of the Year honors. Owls quarterback Jack Grunzinger led the county in passing yards, and teammate Mason Fisher had the most receiving yards in Carroll. South Carroll excelled on defense as well. Linebacker Brandon Athey led the county in tackles and sacks, en route to CMSportsNet Defensive Player of the Year honors. Carter Mazalewski led the county in interceptions, and the Cavs had 4 players with 8 or more sacks. The football season was filled with plenty of memorable moments and big-time performances, and CMSportsNet came up with our top plays and games from last fall. First up, our game of the year, Liberty versus South Carroll from Week 7. Let's take a look. South Carroll hosted Liberty on October 15th at Parker Field in Winfield, where the Cavaliers looked to knock off their rival and run their record to 7-0. A.J. Rodriguez gets SC going early. After a long return on the opening kickoff, Rodriguez caps his team's first drive with this 1-yard touchdown. It's 7-0 for the home team. With 5 minutes to go in the first quarter, Cavs quarterback Ryan Bernard moves around in the pocket and waits for Nate Bohr to get open behind Liberty's defense. Bohr goes in for a 47-yard score, and South Carroll is up 14-0. Liberty breaks through 5 minutes before halftime on this 75-yard touchdown burst from standout running back Tommy Nelson, the first of his 2 scores on the night. South Carroll answers with a long run of its own, and Rodriguez shows off some skills to stretch out a 45-yard TD. The Cavaliers go for two and get it for a 22-7 lead. But the Lions scored just before the end of the third quarter. Quarterback Jack Pelishotti finds receiver Drew Mooney in space for a 62-yard touchdown pass. Liberty gets a two-point play of its own and cuts the deficit to 22-15. Liberty's Max Garland comes up with a big sack on defense, and the Lions get the ball back with 3:34 to play. About 90 seconds later, on 3rd and 3, Nelson spies a gap and roars down the field for a 52-yard touchdown. The Lions trail by 1 point but go for the lead, and Pelishotti hits Sam Evans in the back of the end zone for the two-point play. It's 23-22 Liberty with 1:55 remaining. Want a little more drama? South Carroll faces 3rd and 10 with 62 seconds left. Barnard feels the pressure and rolls to his right and waits for Jackson Strelzik to snag the pass. Strelzik weaves through Liberty's defense for a 59-yard touchdown. Liberty's final drive stalls inside South Carroll territory, and the Cavaliers hang on for the 28-23 win. Throughout the fall season, CMSportsNet gave you our choices for plays of the month. Now it's time to rank the best of the best. Here they are, the top 5 plays of the year from the 2021 football season. CMSportsNet covered the Carroll County Athletic League football season 2021. And along the way, we found the best moments and top plays from the months of September, October, and November. Now it's time to rank the best of the best. Let's take a look at the top football plays of the year. But before we unveil the countdown, here are a few highlights that just missed our top 5 ranks. September 17th, Westminster versus South Carroll. Mason Fisher gets the ball from Owls quarterback Jack Grunzinger, and it's off to the races. Fisher flashes his elite speed, and he's gone down the near side for a 77-yard touchdown. November 26th, Hartford Tech versus South Carroll. It's the Class 2A 1A state semifinals, and the Cavaliers trail in the final minutes. It's 4th down from the Hartford Tech 27-yard line. Cavs quarterback Ryan Barnard finds Carter Mazalewski behind the defense for the game-winning score. And now it's time for CMSportsNet's top football plays of the year. Number 5, November 19th, Williamsport versus South Carroll. The Cavaliers are cruising in the 2A 1A state quarterfinals, and Ryan Barnard adds to the scoring on this deflection that falls into the hands of SC's Jackson Strelzik for a 4th quarter touchdown. Number 4, November 6th, Bel Air versus Westminster. Mason Fisher lands in the top 5 thanks to this 40-yard punt return for a touchdown in Westminster's lopsided playoff victory over the Bobcats. Number 3, November 6th, Bel Air versus Westminster. We're back for more from this Owls postseason win. Jack Sabo tips this Bel Air pass, and it falls into Fisher's hands, and Fisher eludes the defense for a nifty pick 6. Number 2, October 1st, Francis Scott Key versus Century. The Eagles use some trickeration to fool the Knights for a long touchdown. QB Jaron Rudder pitches to Justin Franks, who then pitches the ball to Ben Stevens, and Stevens finds a wide-open Jaden Heiser for a 70-yard score. Number 1, October 15th, Liberty versus South Carroll. It's the play of the year from our game of the year. The Lions lead 23-22 with 1 minute to play, and the Cavs have the ball on 3rd and 10. Ryan Barnard escapes a rush and rolls to the far side, then unloads to Jackson Strelzik behind the defense. It's a 59-yard touchdown, and South Carroll holds off Liberty 28-23. Now let's shift focus to the 2021 girls soccer season. Century won the Carroll County Athletic League title with 11 wins and 4 shutouts during the year. The Knights featured senior Haley Greenwade, who led the county in scoring and earned CMSportsNet Offensive Player of the Year honors. Liberty was right behind Century with 10 wins, and the Lions knocked the Knights out of the regional playoffs to win their first title since 1996. Jordan Townsend received CMSportsNet Defensive Player of the Year honors. 3 players finished with 10 or more goals: Green Wade, Abby Rieger from Francis Scott Key, and Ella Busey from Westminster. It was a competitive girls soccer season in 2021, and one game stood out to us here at CMSportsNet. Extra time was needed to come up with a winner, so let's take a look at our choice for the Game of the Year. Liberty High School celebrated its girls soccer senior night on October 5th and hosted South Carroll in a Carroll County clash. Senior midfielder Madeline Boyce gets the Cavaliers on the board early as she takes care of a rebound and drills the ball into the net. Maddie Witter has the initial shot before Boyce's goal. The Lions have a go at this corner kick in the 14th minute, but SC goalkeeper Brooke Turner turns away the threat with this save. Witter comes through on offense for South Carroll to make it 2-0 with 22 minutes to play in the first half. Liberty's offense gathers itself late in the first half. Junior midfielder Grace Young takes a short pass from Maddie Rightina and cuts into South Carroll's lead. After this long free kick, senior midfielder Cassie O'Hearn gets into the box and finds the equalizer. Liberty draws even with South Carroll at halftime, 2-2. The Cavaliers start the second half with a quick surge, and senior Allie Schultz manages to notch a goal less than 20 seconds in. It's 3-2 South Carroll. Liberty goalkeeper Lauren Mondor keeps the game tied here with one of her 10 saves. Turner, also with 10 saves, matches that at the other end of the field for the Cavaliers after Jordan Townsend's solid strike. The Cavaliers still lead 3-2 with less than 9 minutes to go, but Townsend gets her head on this corner kick and they're tied up once again. South Carroll needs overtime for the second time in the game to end it. Mondor comes up with a pair of big saves at first, but senior Lucy Cherry gets the game winner, and the Cavaliers prevail 4-3. When we come back, we'll head into the winter sports season and take a look at some of our top moments from boys basketball, girls basketball, and wrestling. And don't forget, we unveil our Athlete of the Year for the 2021-22 season a little later on. Until then, let's look at our Winter Athlete of the Week picks and the Winter Team County Champions. Hey there, I'm Pat Stetzer.
And I'm Michael Duffy, inviting you to join us for The Score and more.
It's our new podcast, and each week we'll talk about high school sports in Carroll County. We'll share information about upcoming games, highlight coaches and athletes, and much more.
We'll even try to have a little fun along the way. Don't miss The Score and More podcast, presented by CMSportsNet.
The Score and More Sports podcast is available online at carrollmediacenter.org and on a variety of podcast channels.
What does it take to cover local high school sports? It takes staff and volunteers, equipment, training, and community support from people like you. You can help by making a donation to the Community Media Center today. Your gift is an investment in our community, our schools, and most of all, our student athletes. We want to expand our coverage to include both boys and girls sports, but we can't do it without your help. So please, make your donation today and help us bring high school sports to every screen in Carroll County.
Coming out of the fall and into the winter, it's time to head inside onto the hardwood. CMSportsNet covered boys and girls basketball during the 2021-22 season, one that had its share of fantastic finishes and outstanding performances. Century won the Carroll County Athletic League boys basketball title for the 4th year in a row and 7th in the last 9 seasons. CMSportsNet Player of the Year Andrew Marcinko, the Knights junior guard, averaged 20.4 points per game and led Carroll in three-point and free throw percentage. Century coach George Wander also surpassed 300 career wins during the season. Francis Scott Key finished featured the county's leading scorer in senior Ryan Rill, who joined the Eagles' 1,000-point club along the way. And Liberty got hot in time for the playoffs to capture their second regional title in 3 seasons. It's time to show the boys basketball game of the year. It was an easy pick for us, a regional playoff matchup that became an instant classic.
Francis Scott Key coach Ryan Kimball's Eagles went into their Class 1A South Region 1 semifinal on Monday, February 28th, as the top seed and playing at home. By the end of the night, in his words, they would need a miracle to keep their season alive. The Eagles score first when 3 passes around the perimeter lead to an entry pass to Logan Millstreet, who converts in the paint. But playing without their leading scorer Ryan Rill, FSK's offense would struggle for much of the night. Still, when Millstreet finds Jaden Heiser for a nifty scoop shot, the Eagles lead 12-10 after the first quarter. Again, it's Heiser on a spectacular drive as the Eagles look to be pulling away in the second quarter. Just before halftime, a great pass from Elijah Harris to a cutting Millstreet gives the Eagles their biggest lead. But Pikesville takes over from there, and a 3-pointer just before the buzzer to end the third quarter gives the Panthers a 32-31 lead. The fourth quarter goes back and forth, but the Eagles take a 3-point lead when Millstreet gets an offensive rebound and kicks it out to Harris, who finds Liam McGrath, who passes to Jordan Fulmore for the short jumper. Pikesville rallies, however, and this floater puts the Panthers on top, 46-45. It's actually 48-45 Pikesville when Heiser gets a crucial offensive rebound and is fouled with just 3.4 seconds left. At this point, Kimball said his team would need a miracle to win. Heiser makes the first free throw to pull FSK within 2, and then misses the second intentionally. Harris gets the rebound, spins, and passes to Millstreet, who buries the 3-pointer just before the buzzer to give the Eagles a 49-48 win and send their fans into a frenzy.
Let's switch over to girls basketball, where Manchester Valley finished with 21 wins and clinched the CCAL title for the first time in 5 years. The Mavericks put together a 15-game winning streak during the season, led by all-county standout Carmea Bowman. Westminster and Liberty shared second place in the county standings, and the Owls finished with 15 wins. The Lions won 9 of 10 to clinch the 2A West Region 1 title and play in the state quarterfinals. CMSportsNet Player of the Year Jess Littlejohn, a senior guard, led the county in scoring, assists, steals, and field goal percentage. Century senior forward Ava Brandt was the lone county player to average a double-double. There were overtime thrillers and buzzer beaters on the girls' side as well. And with that, let's check one of them out, the CMSportsNet Game of the Year.
Francis Scott Key went to Winfield on Friday night, February 11th, to play South Carroll in a matchup between 2 Carroll County Athletic League teams that have struggled in recent weeks. It will take all 32 minutes to decide this one. FSK strikes first. The Eagles work the ball around the perimeter as Raina Miller takes a pass from Summer Brooks and swishes a 3-pointer from the left wing. A few minutes later, the Eagles get the ball inside to Caroline Core, who posts up and scores inside to force the Cavaliers into a timeout. The Cavs get their first field goal off an inbounds pass from Shannon McTavish to Kaylee Malone, who buries a 3 from the right corner nearly 6 minutes into the first quarter. Brooks dribbles down the floor, gives it up, and gets it back to hit a 3-pointer from way beyond the arc at the buzzer and give the FSK all the momentum heading into the second quarter. The Cavaliers try to stay close as McTavish banks in a 3-pointer from the right wing to beat the shot clock. But FSK pulls away with Abby Rieger going the length of the floor to score in transition late in the second quarter as the Eagles grab a 13-point halftime lead. The Eagles start slow in the second half, and the Cavs rally with McTavish driving the lane for a layup, forcing FSK into a timeout. Midway through the third quarter, Miller swishes a 3-pointer from the right wing to extend FSK's lead back to 10. But the Cavaliers' comeback continues as Maddie Witter gets a bounce pass in the lane and scores off the glass. The Eagles' lead is down to 1 as they inbound the ball with 13.4 seconds to play. McTavish steals a tipped pass near half court, goes all the way, and scores what looks to be a game winner. But Brooks takes the inbounds pass, dribbles once, and heaves it some 60 feet to Lizzie Bertrand, who gets behind the South Carroll defense and hurries to get a shot off. It rolls around and through the basket as time expires, giving the Eagles a thrilling victory. The final was 37-36.
Carroll County Wrestling once again flexed some muscle during the winter season. County champ South Carroll went undefeated in dual meets, going 25-0 en route to the Class 1A state title, the Cavaliers' first dual state crown in school history. Senior Ryan Athey became the 10th wrestler in Carroll County history to finish his high school career with 4 county tournament titles. And the Cavs had 3 wrestlers post undefeated records as well. Manchester Valley won 31 duels this winter, and 5 of the county's 7 teams finished with winning records. South Carroll crowned 6 champs at the annual county tournament, and Man Valley finished with 4 winners. Carroll also had its biggest girls tournament ever and totaled 12 county champs. Carroll was at its best during the biggest event of the season at the annual state tournament, and CMSportsNet was there to capture the record-setting highlights.
Carroll County sent 52 wrestlers into action at the MPSSAA State Championship Wrestling Tournaments, March 3rd through the 5th at Showplace Arena in Upper Marlboro. By the time the championship finals were set, 9 wrestlers from Carroll remained across the co-ed and girls divisions. Next up is Cavaliers junior AJ Rodriguez facing Noah Rijo, a 2-time state champ from Stephen Decatur, in the 2A 1A 160-pound final. Rodriguez and Rio are tied at 1-1 in the final seconds before Rodriguez takes a shot and secures a takedown. He holds on from there to win 3-1 and capture his second career state championship. He also finishes the season at 40-0. The 2A 1A 152-pound final pits Jake Boog of Manchester Valley against Glenelg's Ethan Sotka. Boog comes into the final at 42-3, and Sotka is 31-1, having beaten Boog when the two wrestled in the regional final a week earlier. Boog trails 3-0 midway through the second period before turning the tables. He snags a reversal and gets Sotka on his back. Boog seals the pin at the 3:37 mark of the match, and in doing so becomes the first wrestler from Manchester Valley to earn a state title. Liberty's Ryan Oler wrestles Decatur's Gavin Solido in the 2A 1A 145-pound championship bout. Oler gets the first takedown of the match and leads 2-1 midway through the second period. Oler leads 5-3 before notching another takedown, and he takes control of the bout with the third period winding down. That's it. Oler prevails 7-4 to win his first state title and finish the year at 39-2. He also finishes with 125 career victories. South Carroll back on the mat for another 2A 1A final. It's Gage Owen against Ricky Figueroa of Chesapeake, who is 25-0 to Owen's 37-0. Owen doesn't waste too much time. Once he locks the cradle, it's all over for Figueroa midway through the second period. Owen gets his second career state title and ends the year at 38-0. Time for another Cavaliers grappler in a 2A 1A final. Next up is Michael Pizzuto against Glenelg's Kyle Hansberger at 126 pounds. Pizzuto uses some blood time and needs some bandages for his nose, but a pair of escapes is all he needs to shut out Hansberger 2-0 and win a second state crown in 3 seasons. Pizzuto posts a 40-0 record on the season. Westminster's Caden Bryant is the lone county rep on the 4A 3A side, and he faces South River's Rashiel Coney in the 285-pound final, the final bout of the state tournament. This one goes past overtime and into tiebreaker mode, all tied at 1. Bryant is on bottom and gets the escape for a 2-1 lead late in the match. Bryant hangs on and wins the state title, giving Carroll County 6 champions on the day. That's a record for the most state titleists in one season in county history.
It's almost time to announce the CMSportsNet Athlete of the Year for 2021-22. And we're going to wrap up the spring season with boys and girls lacrosse. But first, take a look at the county championship teams from this spring, plus our picks during the season for Athlete of the Week. Stick around, we'll be right back.
What does it take to cover local high school sports? It takes staff and volunteers, equipment, training, and community support from people like you. You can help by making a donation to the Community Media Center today. Your gift is an investment in our community, our schools, and most of all, our student athletes. We want to expand our coverage to include both boys and girls sports, but we can't do it without your help. So please, make your donation today and help us bring high school sports to every screen in Carroll County.
Now it's time to go back outside and into the 2022 spring season. We'll start with boys lacrosse and Carroll County champion Century. The Knights went 6-0 in county play to win their second straight county title. Century won its first ever county championship in 2021 and defended their crown this spring. Westminster finished 5-1 against county opponents, and the Owls made it to a regional final led by Carroll's second leading scorer in Zach Johnson. Liberty didn't fare as well in the county, but the Lions won a pair of playoff games to capture the 1A West Region 1 championship and earn a spot in the state quarterfinals. Liberty boasted the county's leading scorer in Jesse Jason, the CMSportsNet Player of the Year. Our pick for boys lacrosse game of the year featured the top two teams in Carroll. Fans saw a mighty fourth quarter comeback and some overtime. Let's find out who won this thriller.
Westminster hosted Century on Tuesday, April 19th in an anticipated Carroll County Athletic League boys lacrosse game, with the reigning county champion Knights going after a fourth straight win and the Owls looking for a third win in a row. Face-off specialist Eric Harrell starts things off in a big way with a face-off win and a streak down the field that turns into a goal for Century, the game's first score. Westminster keeps it close, and freshman Cam Webb grabs the loose ball and takes a rip. The goal makes it 2-1, but Century leads 3-2 after the first quarter. Here's senior Brent Whalen with a nice assist from Brad Brown, his second of the game. Whalen's second goal of the game gives the Knights a 5-3 lead. Century seems to take control in the third quarter. The Knights outscore Westminster 3-0 in the quarter and grab an 8-4 lead. Here's one of those goals, a bouncing shot from Connor Zombro that gets through after an initial save by Matt Cooner. Westminster is not going away. Mason Fisher flashes some speed from the top of the box and scores to make it 8-5 with 8:26 remaining in the fourth quarter. Senior Jacob Hogue gets a pass from Zach Johnson and goes top shelf, and that goal brings the Owls to within 2 at 8-6. Hogue tries to draw Westminster even with Century on this shot, but Knights goalie Jarrett Moyer turns him away. Check out this wild finish. Century tries to clear the ball in the final seconds, but the Owls come away with it and make a dash the other way. Johnson's shot is stopped by Moyer, but Austin Hardesty is there for the cleanup with 10 seconds to play. Westminster comes all the way back to tie the score at 8-all, and we are heading to overtime. After a back-and-forth opening to the OT, the Knights get a chance for a fast break clear. It's John Pavlik to Whalen for the game winner in a thrilling finish. Final score is Century 9, Westminster 8.
Girls lacrosse saw Century go 19-0 and win county, region, and state championships along the way. The Knights dominated the competition behind a host of talented players, led by the CMSportsNet Player of the Year in senior Caroline Little. Century had 3 of the top 5 scorers in the county and won their first state title in 5 years. Lauren Hackett led Carroll in scoring with 101 points, and twin sister Anna Hackett poured in a county best 78 goals. Liberty repeated as Class 1A state champs thanks to 5 straight playoff wins. The Lions had the numbers 2 and 3 scorers in Carroll with Riley Mathiasen and Val Thompson, whose 74 goals were second most in the county. Manchester Valley finished with a 13-2 record, and Westminster posted 12 wins and advanced to a 3A regional final. Our girls lacrosse game of the year saw 2 nationally ranked teams face each other in the regional playoffs. It went down to the wire. Let's take a look.
Century hosted Glenelg in the Class 2A West Region 1 Girls Lacrosse Championship game, a matchup of 2 unbeaten teams ranked among the nation's best, according to USA Lacrosse magazine. Glenelg scores the game's first goal, but Century fights right back, and the Knights are sparked by their defense. Here's senior Abby Fleischel with a ground ball off a turnover. Anna Hackett takes this free position attempt and converts it with 5:31 to play. Century leads 3-1 late in the first half. It's sister Lauren Hackett's turn for a free position try.
Another goal for the Knights, and they take a 6-2 lead into halftime. Glenelg makes some adjustments during the intermission and comes out shooting. Lauren LaPointe buries a shot after a loose ball in front of Century's goal, and it's 6-3 early in the second half. Century goes back to patience on offense, and Lauren Hackett finds Caroline Little on a nice cut to the circle. Little's goal makes it 7-4 Century with under 19 minutes remaining. Glenelg finds itself on a fast break here, but Century goalie Becca Mullenix stones Carly Callahan to keep the Knights ahead by 3. Century uses a timeout to set up an offensive play, and it works. Anna Hackett goes to the goal and fires this shot to make it 8-4 Knights with 15:23 left. Glenelg isn't done yet. The Gladiators chip away at the lead, and when Sophie Sapola scores, Century's advantage is down to 1 goal at 8-7 with 4:23 to go. The Knights rely on their possession game the rest of the way, and Glenelg cannot come up with equalizer. It's celebration time for Century as the final seconds tick away. Final score is Century 8, Glenelg 7. Anna Hackett leads the way with 4 goals, and Lauren Hackett adds 1 goal and 1 assist. Jane Brewer comes up with 5 ground balls and 3 draw controls for the Knights. With 3 seasons and 21 varsity sports, there were numerous athletes that showcased their talent and skill throughout the year. One such athlete stood out above the rest in the sports we focused on. Last week, I went down to Century High School and presented Caroline Little with the 2021-22 CMSportsNet Athlete of the Year Award and talked to the recent graduate about her senior season. This year, CMSportsNet went with an overall Athlete of the Year. We chose a 3-sport athlete who was all Carroll County Athletic League in all 3 sports, and this athlete was also our Girls Lacrosse Player of the Year during the spring. It's Century's Caroline Little, and also here with her dad, Chris Little. Caroline, you played 3 sports. Your season started on August 15th for the first day and didn't end until the weekend of Memorial Day. It's a long year, but it's something you're used to. What was this senior year like for you?
It was just a lot of fun. It's something, every person who plays sports looks forward to their senior year. Just being able to play 3 different sports with 3 different groups of people, it's like nothing else that you grow with these people. And a lot of them I play soccer, I play basketball with, and we all play the same sport. So I'm with them all year round. It's just great to grow with them for another year.
How do you balance that time? Because there's really no break. You go from one to the next, and that doesn't even count jobs, school, all your club and travel stuff. How do you try to balance all that out?
It's just a lot of time management. Like if I'm tired, if my body hurts, it's knowing when to take a break. But it's usually not too bad with practices. They're usually right after school, so I get home at a reasonable time, do my homework, go to bed, do it all over again.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah. But the timing in between seasons, like soccer, I had I think like 1 week before basketball started. But it's just I like it. It gets me back into it. I don't know what to do with myself when I don't have a sport to play. So
always going.
Yeah.
One person that got to watch her in 2 of the seasons, but coach her in 1 is her dad, Chris Little. What was it like to be there for you? You've been with your kids for all their sports, and Caroline's last one. You got to coach her in the fall, then you got to watch her in the winter and the spring. Fond memories, I'm going to guess, of being able to do all 3 of those things.
Yeah, incredibly fun. I mean, one of the joys of being a father and a coach is definitely being able to see your kids grow, progress, mature. And Caroline did a lot of that this year. She had to be a leader as a different way this year, not only in soccer, but when I saw her do it in soccer and then transition that into basketball and into lacrosse, it was really fun to watch from the stands. So, completely enjoyable, and completely makes you a proud dad.
Absolutely. Caroline, your dad's on the sideline for soccer, then he's up there right behind the press box for lacrosse and obviously in basketball too. What's it like to have the family support that you've had your whole career? It's going to continue when you go on to Virginia Tech, but it must have been more special this year the way things ended for you guys.
Yeah, definitely, especially in soccer, like just being able to play for him. He's coached me ever since I was pretty much in 4 years old. Right. It's just really nice to have finally got on an end season, and just knowing that he's at every single game. He had some work meeting and we were playing some team that has no record, and he was like, no, I have to be there. So just knowing that, and my mom's there every game, my grandparents every single game, my brother. So just that kind of support, it definitely makes you feel better when you play. It makes you play better. Yeah.
Caroline Little, a 3-sport athlete this year for Century High School, a state champion in the spring for the girls lacrosse team, and our CMSportsNet Athlete of the Year for 2021-22. Coming up next, we'll check in with Carroll Lynx Athletic Director Bill Kelvey and take a look back at some of the highlights from men's soccer and men's lacrosse. Hey there, I'm Pat Stetzer.
And I'm Michael Duffy, inviting you to join us for The Score and more.
It's our new podcast, and each week we'll talk about high school sports in Carroll County. We'll share information about upcoming games, highlight coaches and athletes, and much more.
We'll even try to have a little fun along the way. Don't miss the Score and More podcast presented by CMSportsNet.
The Score and More Sports podcast is available online at carrollmediacenter.org and on a variety of podcast channels.
What does it take to cover local high school sports? It takes staff and volunteers, equipment, training, and community support from people like you. You can help by making a donation to the Community Media Center today. Your gift is an investment in our community, our schools, and most of all, our student athletes. We want to expand our coverage to include both boys and girls sports, but we can't do it without your help. So please, make your donation today and help us bring high school sports to every screen in Carroll County.
Welcome back. Carroll Community College men's soccer took the field last fall for their third season, and the Lynx went 4-3 over the final month to finish 4-9 overall, with leading scorer Joey Brower posting 11 goals and 23 points. That was good for a top 10 showing in the Maryland JUCO Conference. Mason Hale earned team MVP honors, and during the season as goalie, he helped post the program's first shutout victory. Brower was Offensive Player of the Year, and Aaron Ostendorf received Defensive Player of the Year honors. Last spring, Carroll's men's lacrosse team showed signs of improvement. After going winless in their inaugural season, the Lynx finished the 2022 schedule with a 4-7 record. Latif Yacobo led Carroll in scoring with 18 goals and 28 points, and goalie Tyler Branner collected 68 saves. Joining us now to talk about Lynx sports is Athletic Director Bill Kelvey. Bill, we appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. The men's soccer team had a successful finish to the fall season like we just talked about. Where do you see the program going in terms of growth and interest in the future?
Well, when we first started the program, we were just hoping to have a team.
Yeah.
And now I think our coach Tom O'Brien is working on trying to get together the wins, trying to get be more competitive in our conference. We're in a pretty tough conference and region.
Absolutely.
And also Tom is now in charge of both the men's and women's program.
Okay.
So we're hoping the recruiting success from the men will work on over to the women.
Yeah.
So we're in that stage where we're trying to look at wins. The pandemic didn't help.
Sure.
So we're giving ourselves a couple more years to say, okay, let's get things going now. So.
Yeah. But it is going. You feel like it's going in a good direction.
Yes, I think I just checked the numbers today, and I think we have about 17 or 18 already for this fall.
Great.
And we just had a couple more recruits just came in a couple of days ago.
Awesome. Numbers are going up then.
Numbers are looking good.
That's great. That's great. Men's lacrosse made strides at the club level the last couple of years. What are the plans for it to become an official NCJ 2A program? I think that's the goal, right?
Yeah, we've always wanted to be. For people that don't know, a club team in the NJCAA level means you're allowed to have part-time students play.
Okay.
So by going club, it brought in some more players rather than having full-time, where it's a little bit limited.
Sure.
So this year, the goal is we want to be full-time, all full-time players.
Okay.
NJCAA. That allows us to go to postseason play.
Yes.
Gets us rankings. It gets the name out there a little bit better.
Sure.
So that's the goal this year.
Yeah. All right. Where do the Lynx stand right now in terms of the women's sports coming into the fold? You just mentioned that Coach Tom O'Brien is taking care of the soccer side of things. I know it's been a little bit of an uphill battle. Where do things stand right now?
Yeah, we're still a little bit low on both women's soccer and lacrosse. And the problem is Carroll County's athletes are so good that the girls are getting scholarships for four-year schools right out of high school, and it's making it tough. We're also finding some of the girls that are more realistic than the guys, and they're starting to think about academics rather than continuing their playing career.
Okay, yeah.
So both of those have made it a little bit difficult with recruiting, and also we're recruiting constantly because every 2 years you're getting turnover compared to a four-year school.
Right.
So it makes it a little bit tougher.
Yeah. Outside of what you've already mentioned, what else does the future hold? New sports, stadium renovations? I know there are some things coming up for you guys.
We're having golf. We'll be starting this spring, 2023. We have our coach in place. He's having a tryout golf little tournament in August with about, I think, 6 have signed up so far. So it'll be men and women can play.
Right.
As far as in inside sports, we're limited to our facilities.
Sure.
Not having a gym doesn't help.
Sure.
So that's hurt. And then, as you may have heard, the county has given $2.4 million to be used for a turf field.
Fantastic.
And also we're trying to get a track.
Great.
And lights.
Okay.
Just now starting. We just met with the county.
Sure.
They'll be running the whole project. They're trying to look at the design,
Yeah.
implementation. So it might be a little while. So we're at the very beginning stages, but we're all excited about.
Exciting though.
This
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
really help things take off.
That's great. Well, thanks again, Bill, and good luck for another season of Lynx athletics, fast approaching already.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That'll do it for the CMSportsNet Wrap-Up Show Year in Review. My thanks to our studio guests, Randy Pence of Century High School and Bill Kelvey of Carroll Community College. And once again, congratulations to our 21-22 CMSportsNet Athlete of the Year, Century's Caroline Little. I'm Pat Stetzer, and before we go, I'd like to take a moment and just say how much fun this has been in my first year as sports editor at the CMC. In the fall, we gave you comprehensive coverage of South Carroll's football journey to a state championship game. Being at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis was a treat, and CMSportsNet provided special coverage throughout the playoffs after giving you live streams of post-game interviews of girls soccer and football. This past winter, we streamed basketball and wrestling. Once again, CMSportsNet had special playoff coverage, including an in-studio broadcast of the County Wrestling Tournament Championship Finals. We also had highlights from the state wrestling tournament a few weeks later. And during the spring season, we gave you live lacrosse regular season coverage, brought you highlights from the county tennis tournament and track meet, and wrapped it up from Loyola's Ridley Athletic Complex as Century and Liberty won girls lacrosse state titles. This year, CMSportsNet received national recognition, winning the Best of Sports Coverage Award from the Alliance of Community Media Foundation, and we're ready to do it all over again in 2022-23. Please check out all of our high school and Carroll Lynx sports coverage from the past year on cmsportsnet.com, Facebook, and YouTube, and on cable channel HD 1086. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next time.